13 Questions by Man Transcending. Manhood in the Digital Age.
This week on 13 Questions, we've got Matt Belair, the Zen athlete himself. We welcome anyone from Matt's audience that might have come over to check out 13 Questions. We hope you enjoy the questions. We hope you like them. If you think we can have some better questions, you can email us at 13questionspodcast.com and suggest them. Or you can become a member, and then you get all sorts of power over the show, including the ability to make your own shows. But anyway, yeah, Matt Belair, great guy. Of course, we did his interview months ago because we got behind on stuff. But Matt, here it is finally. Great answers. Great little bonus section as well, which of course is the cream of the crop to the membership, as you do get those bonus questions and the little wrap up at the end, which people are loving. So if you want to do any of that, do head over to 13questionspodcast.com today and check out the sign up page. You'll say everything that you get there. It's not just the podcast extensions. It also comes with a members only Discord, so you can get some community going. We can go in there and we can get some, what we're hoping to do eventually is get some different things. Like Graham here is, got some addiction
recovery experience.
Yeah, exactly. What are you, 11 years? Coming up on 11 or 12?
11, this month, 11, yeah.
11 years.
Yeah.
So, that's just, a resource in there. He's not a counselor, but he's been through it and he's been clean for 11 years. He's taken courses.
Yeah. Got my certificate in addiction studies. So
yeah, and we got other guys like Nikki the Dude from episode 1, Nikki B. He's in the Discord. So, just a place where some past guests are hanging out, where some people with some experience are hanging out, where some people might, just have a little help. And if nothing else, you just get a little community. Hang out with some people that are good people. And then there's members only forums where you can take a crack at answering the questions yourself, stuff like that. And then you get the extensions. We do 2 of these 13 Questions podcasts a week. So you get the 2 extensions per week. You also get any bonus. As we foresee that down the road, we're going to start to have a lot of content. And inevitably, some of that's going to end up in the bonus section for members only. So good to get a membership now. Comes with a bunch of communications courses by TJ Walker too, about 5 different communications courses, help you become a better communicator, make a better speech, all that sort of stuff. So you might want to do the communications courses before you go out and try to do your own 13 Questions podcasts. It'll help you become a better podcaster, which of course is the other perk we're giving to our members. Maybe you got a grandpa, a dad, a boss, a brother, yourself, a good buddy, somebody with that you think would be a good fit for the show. You'd like to get them immortalized on the internet somehow, and you're not quite sure how. This is a way. We're working on a page right now that's going to have sort of a breakdown on some best practices for recording an interview. But for now, once you become a member, you go in the Discord, ping me. I will personally coach you through becoming a podcaster and recording whoever you want to record. Send in the audio. We'll post it. Bang. Grandpa's on the internet forever, answering some profound questions and giving out some wisdom. Is that everything you get? There's a Discord.
We talked about all the journaling and the communication courses.
Oh yeah, we email you out journaling prompts, helping you aimed at self-discovery and personal growth, that sort of thing. And all that's for $7 a month. Pretty good deal, I think. $777 a month, $77.77 a year, or $777.77 for a lifetime. Head over to 13questionspodcast.com today. And of course, you get the extension, you get the bonus RSS feed, or you can listen to the extended episodes directly through the website. So Matt Belair.
Yeah, Matt's a one-of-a-kind Zen athlete, coach, author, speaker, conscious thought leader, and of course, podcast host as well. I'm going to read the bio from his website here because it's pretty descriptive and kind of gives a really good indication of him. So he's been living a life of dedicated to acquiring the skills and knowledge to help others on their path to greatness. That's brought Matt to a level of expertise attained by few. With experience in fields ranging from mental fortitude, Zen, the pursuit of inner peace and positive living, martial arts, marketing, snowboarding, travel to neuro-linguistic programming, meditation, sports psychology, life coaching, and conscious living. He's equipped to support you in whatever you aspire to achieve. He's a one-of-a-kind author, speaker, and conscious thought leader and podcast host. Matt believes in potential. His own, yours, and everyone's. Seeing the possibilities in someone's life is his greatest gift. He knows we can all be great, so there's nothing that despairs him from to see someone suffer or settle for mediocrity, and nothing that brings him more joy than to witness them achieve their highest potential. He has incredible vision, and he's seen the unignited potential in every individual. He's truly special, has a rare ability to help others see, believe, and create that inherent potential within themselves. He's traveled the world and put himself in the fire to test his knowledge and limits. He spent time in Nepal studying meditation with Buddhist monks, survived a near-death experience while trekking Everest. He's traveled the world as a professional snowboard coach, trained mixed martial arts with pro fighters in Thailand. He's learned the secrets to becoming an effective and powerful leader, speaker, and trainer under the guidance of mentor Michel Losier, the best-selling author of The Law of Attraction, and spent, I know that guy, Michael. It's good work. And he spent time in China training with 34th Generation Shaolin Monks, just to name some of his incredible experiences. The wealth of experience and training has led Matt to a high level of coaching proficiency in the fields of sports psychology, self-development and awareness, marketing, the law of attraction, and meditation. There you have it. Fantastic guy.
Oh, yeah, Matt's great. Great guy.
Great podcast,
and fits in perfect with our sort of, what we're trying to do over here at 13 Questions, a Man Transcending, just trying to not tell you what to do. We're just trying to maybe help you tell you what to do.
Yeah. His website's mattbelair.com.
Go to mattbelair.com. Everything else will fall into place from there. Before you do that, enjoy these fantastic answers by Matt Belair. Then head over to 13questionspodcast.com today. Become a member. Okay, Matt Belair, big thanks for taking some time out of your busy day to come on and answer our 13 questions here. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, boys. Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on and choosing me. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I think it's something a little different than the last time we talked to you on the other show, but equally is important, and it should be just as much fun.
Heck yeah.
So we'll jump into it with the first question, which is, what was the best advice ever given to you?
All right. I had to think about these questions. Usually I don't prepare at all, but I actually had a browse of these. And this advice was given to me several times over my life, and it's to listen. It was given to me by a teacher, and then recently studying with David Lombear Senepas, a Native American elder. But that's probably the best advice I've ever gotten.
Oh, I like it. That's a good one. I remember my dad telling me about that, listening as well, and being in the moment. That was like, I remember my dad giving me that. But that's important, man. It's hard to do. That's honestly, doing these podcasts has forced us to try and listen better.
Yeah. Well, one way it was put to me was that when you're talking, you're saying what you know already. You're just sharing that. But when you listen, you might be learning something new. So just about, the power of listening and active listening, not just say, okay, listen. Like, it's one thing to listen and kind of think about, the Cheetos or whatever you got to do later in that day. But to actually listen is a whole nother thing.
Yeah, I agree. So what was the most important lesson you learned from your parents? Kind of a similar question, but more about the lessons, I guess, from your parents. And it doesn't have to be a good lesson, because it could be, an unintended lesson,
Right. Well, it's a simple one for me, but it was from my mom. It's just to treat everybody with respect, no matter what. And I think it's just a good quality human being life lesson.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah.
We got to start with the basics, and then when we go up from there, just how do we human? How do you be a proper human? And then, move up from there. I think a lot of people forget those simple ones.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, if everyone just followed that rule, how much better of a place would everything be? Your workplace, your bus ride to work, your air traffic, everything.
Yeah, exactly. People are just, getting a little bit carried away with being a-holes sometimes. Just be a little bit nicer.
Sometimes it's tempting. I catch myself, right? I'm always reeling myself in traffic when I'm just like, that guy's just in a hurry. You've done it a million times. Just forget it. It's not personal.
Right. Yeah. That's the testing zone. If you can do it in traffic, you can do it anywhere. You're a master at that point.
What book has been most influential on your life and why?
This is a good question. So the way it's phrased, I can give two answers, because the most influential book is Zen Athlete, because I had to write a book. I made it. So that's technically the answer for me. But if you mean the book that I read, it would be Autobiography of a Yogi. Because when I read that, it made me realize that I wasn't like alone. I was, at that point in my life, a lot of people didn't understand me. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, there are other people that live this way. I'm not the only one. So, and the experiences, that book is just friggin' amazing. Everybody should read that book.
Right on. So do you have any daily habits or rituals? And if so, would you recommend those for others?
Yeah, well, I would say not every day, but most days I'll journal. I'll do some sort of fitness or sports, have some sort of fun. And the recent one over the last 6 months, again, I just spent the summer with David Lomber Senepas, who's a Native American elder of the Mi'kmaq. It's Micmac, but I guess it's a slur way to say it. So Mi'kmaq is the proper pronunciation.
Oh, okay.
But 3 acts of kindness a day, go out of my way to do it and don't tell anybody. So that's what I've been doing. So
nice.
That's probably the most powerful daily practice that I've implemented over the last year, that's had the most transformation and the most powerful habit that I have.
And I guess you would recommend those for others.
Yeah, definitely journaling, getting it out of the mind. Yeah, definitely do that. Meditation's a great habit. Doing something you like and enjoy, like take care of your body. A lot of people they don't make that a habit, right? You got to take care of your body. But by far the most important one, if you do 3, I challenge people, if you do 3 acts of kindness a day, go out of your way to do it and do it for a week, you'll get what I refer to as a universal wink. Something weird will happen to you from the external environment, like the Matrix winking back at you, being like, there you go. Now you're on the right track.
I love it.
Yeah, I've been actually doing on the Facebook page, I've been doing Friday rack challenges. Try and get people thinking about that.
Friday what?
Oh, that's awesome.
Random act of kindness.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I try and get them to post them to the Facebook page to try and get an asshole to carry on the tradition.
Nice.
That's awesome.
If I were to ask your best friend, what is the one thing they would say you need to work on the most and why?
Well, if it was one of my best friends, I'd probably say flattery for them. But I would say the serious answer would be patience. I can be impatient at times. I would like things to move faster always.
Why?
Because I imagine everything is being done. It's like I imagine the house, or I imagine like the book, or I imagine whatever I'm creating. I can see, the way my mind works, it's super imaginative, and I always see the outcome, and I always see how to improve things. So then I'm like, okay, let's get this done. But in getting it done it always just takes longer than my mind imagines it. And then I don't like beating around the bush or wasting time. Even when I was a kid, I would never walk anywhere. I would jog because walking was too slow. So patience is something I'm still working on.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Answer.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Huh. So what are you most curious about?
I go so many different ones. I'm curious about so much. I'm curious about human potential. I'm curious about my potential. I'm curious about the history of humanity in the earth, like the real history, aliens, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And I'm also curious, though, really deeply, why we still have war and how do we bring peace to the planet?
Yeah.
How do we make this place like a civilization that we're proud of? If you look at, if ETs were looking at us, and we looked at humanity and we graded us, we would be failing everything. I don't understand how we are not living in a cooperative planet with each other, with how intelligent we're supposed to be. It literally blows my mind. And so that's what I'm curious about. How do we actually make planetary changes towards peace? Peace we should have peace.
Yep. Fantastic answer.
More peace, more love. What was the most or one of the most embarrassing experiences of your life?
You guys I had to dig because I don't think I've had too many embarrassing experiences. The first one that came to my mind actually was when I was playing basketball in like grade 7, and all my friends were watching, and I think it was like the first public, like high school public type of thing, and I airballed a shot. But more embarrassing than that, when I was kind of going through, it was like, what was I really embarrassed about? I got super wasted in Frosh Week University, and I ended up getting drunk and just pissing all over my friend's coffee table. So that was pretty embarrassing to fess up to the next day.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh man,
I've had a couple of those.
Yeah, so I'm glad that you guys
at a friend's house one time too, and his mom had to change the sheets. Just like, oh my god.
I thought you were going to mirror one of my younger embarrassing moments. It was like same thing. And gym or at school lunchtime playing handball, European handball, and there was all people in the bleachers watching, and they were all laughing at me, and I didn't know why. It felt like one of those dreams. And I'd split my rugby pants, split the crotch right out of them. And I was playing for like 5 minutes, and everybody's laughing. I'm wondering why. And I go down, I sit down in the bleachers, and I open my legs, and big, gaping rip all the way across my pants that I didn't notice.
Tough one.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a little traumatic as a kid. So, anyways.
Yeah.
All right. So, your biggest regret?
Biggest regret is you did skip one in the list you gave me, but I'll answer that one first. It's quitting skateboarding. I loved skateboarding, and I was really good at it, and when I was a kid, and then I stopped for like 7 years, 8 years, and then picked it back up. So if I wish I would have just kept it up a little bit, because I wasn't into my like adult body yet. I was kind of like, I was really good at 14. So when I quit. And so if I could have just kind of kept those skills, it would have been a lot more fun. I see the world as everything skateboardable, like Tony Hawk, So if I would have just kept it up a bit, there's so much more fun I could be having, but it's a new experience trying to get good again as a 30-year-old adult.
What is your greatest fear, and what do you do to sort of deal with it or overcome it on a daily basis?
Well, I think the biggest fear for me is honestly sharks in deep ocean. If I imagine like going out on a cruise liner and like jumping into the water in the middle of an ocean, that idea terrifies me. So I don't really have to do a lot to overcome it. When I'm surfing, sometimes I have to like psych myself out and just, go through a mental battle and being like, Jaws isn't coming up to eat my body. But another one on a different, deeper note was being afraid of not being good enough. I had this like recurring dream when I was a kid of going to the end of a track and just never making that thing. And Greg Braden has a really good talk about 3 universal fears. One's not being loved, one's not being accepted, and one's not being worthy. And he says that all humans have one of those 3. So I think that we're all working on that in somehow. So just feeling like with whatever I do in the world is just good enough, like fearing like not living up to either my standards of myself, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the worst and best thing about being male? That's a tough question.
Yeah, I had to think about that one as well. The best thing is being able to pee standing up at the porta potties at Burning Man, because they get disgusting. So that is really great at that festival, because it is a ton of fun. And I know all these girls are dressed up and they look friggin' amazing. But they have to mess around with the porta potties all the time, and we can just kind of go in there and handle our business. So that honestly, just coming out of Burning Man is a huge benefit. It's the first thing that came to my mind. And I think, if it's man or woman, I think it's just an experience on the planet. Culturally we deal with different things, but I think just anatomy wise, getting kicked in the balls is probably the worst thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
just having nuts in general. You know what I mean? It's just like, they're so soft.
Yeah. That'll drop
and so you're in constant danger. So I guess that would be the worst thing. 'Cause other than that, it's pretty good being a man.
Who are your role models and why?
I had a few. Growing up, Bruce Lee was my biggest role model because I love martial arts very much. And he had a whole philosophy of martial arts, but also a way of life. So he's definitely still a massive influence. My mom just is a big influence because she's probably the kindest person that I've ever met, the most caring. And I think that's a really excellent quality to emulate. And the last one would be a recent one, and it's David Lombert Senepas, who's a Native American elder who's taught me a lot over the last year, and just a truly extraordinary person who lives by example. So those are my role models at the moment.
Nice. So what institution of society or structural aspect of modern life would you change given the chance?
There's a lot of things that I would change. I think the biggest one would be media. What these big media houses are pumping out. I think we could influence the world extremely quickly if we had control over TV, movies, and music. And I think that it's being used in a very negative way right now. Also, education. A new and upgraded form of education that's not so much indoctrination. And I heard a little bit ago that they deliberately teach wrong information. I don't know if that's true or conspiracy stuff, but it wouldn't freaking surprise me. I just think that we need a huge upgrade in our education system, government, economics, and the one that I'm also looking at because of the book that I wrote is athletics. I think that there's a huge opportunity in athletics to change the culture because when you do martial arts, it's really about mastering mind, body, spirit, the best that you can be. But we're using sport in this very competitive manner that's not as supportive as it would be if everybody were there to achieve their best. But it's supposed to be for community building. You're not supposed to. It's so you go to another town, so you learn about that other town, or you learn about that other city, or the Olympics. You learn about the other country, and competition is a part of it. But I think that we're focusing on that. And I heard recently, I got to look into this again because they want me to reach out to somebody reached out, wanted me to reach out to this person's father, but I think it's a girl on the Britain snowboard team or something along those lines recently committed suicide. And this is from the horse shit that parents and culture and whatever is putting on kids to be good at sports. When we can redefine that instantly, and athletes are some of the biggest role models on the planet. So we got to redefine that. Sport is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be about improving yourself, and it can be about building community and connecting communities, not, basically win or lose and that whole competitive nature.
Yeah.
What does it mean to be a man to you in today's world?
I have no idea. I thought about that. I was like, I don't know. Can you give me more on that? What does it mean to be a man in this world? I was like, I don't know.
Well, I guess, I think. So what would you sort of define being, I guess, the pinnacle of manhood today, or maybe once upon a time it was being the warrior or something like that. But where would you say we're at with that today? In your mind?
What my idea, in my mind, what a pinnacle.
The ideal man.
Oh, okay. There we go. That's
a man's
a little bit more
man, a woman's man, everyone's man.
Yeah, sure. Well, for me, when you say man, it's because I see everyone, man or woman, the same. This is be your authentic self. And so it could be man or woman, but literally just being honest, living a life that you're proud of, being kind, being authentic, being strong in the right ways, just basically if you're kind and authentic and strength, I just mean strength and conviction of what is right. You don't need to be quiet. You just need to be, stand up for when you need to stand up and say something and do it in a kind manner and help those when you can help. Just, be a general good human being. That's a man's man to me.
Yeah, that's good. What's the most courageous thing you've ever done in your life?
This one is a bit of a long story, medium story, maybe if I shorten it. But I once walked in front of and stopped a man who had a machete that may or may not have killed a person had I not stopped or said something or stepped in front of them in Cambodia on a remote island.
Wow.
Yeah, it was intense.
Yeah, that's pretty scary.
It was super scary.
How did that happen? Did you end up just disarming him? Not physically, but
It'd be
Or
sweet
was
if
it
it was.
physically?
It'd be sweet if it was. I should just make that story up. I'll give you the short version
we're
of it.
ahead on time. We got some time.
Okay, cool. Well, this one, yeah. So I was traveling Cambodia, and there's an island, two islands, Koh Ru and Koh Rong, and I think Koh Ru was a smaller one, if I remember correctly. And it recently got bought by a big company. So my buddy was there, and he's like, "Yo, you got to go to this island. It's amazing." I get there, and once you get there, it's one main restaurant hut thing, and then they've got, I think, 3 cabins and 2 dorm cabins, so it can only host about 50 people in total. And everybody, all the Cambodians were drinking because they were basically out of work and had to vacate the island. And so I was having a good day. Then everybody's getting wasted, and a fight broke out. And I don't jump into fights until someone's getting dummied. If someone's getting dummied, then I'll come and help them. So fight breaks out. I don't do anything, and all of a sudden I see, and then it stops. I'm like, holy crap, what's going on? 20 minutes later, another fight breaks out again, same thing in this bar. And I'm just watching. I'm not going to get in there. It's not my business unless someone's really getting hurt. And a girl runs in, and she kind of gets like, how you wind back and you go for the haymaker? Well, she took the elbow going back and just dropped. And then another girl basically got shoved. And so she was down on the ground. So I basically ran in there, and I pushed one person, and I pulled and yanked a person back and made a huge kind of gap. And then I just kind of was really low and said, please stop. Like, she's hurt, please stop. And I just kind of was very passive and grabbed the girl and got out of there. It stopped. A few minutes, 20 minutes later, fast forward, another fight breaks out, and I find out that these 2 guys that I was talking to were involved. So it was like this German guy that just got punched for no reason. That's how it all started. A Cambodian guy just came up and started lacing this very nice human for no reason. It was ridiculous. And I had found that out later, and it pissed off this French guy who was friends with him, who was tall, about 6'2". And he ended up pointing out the guy who did it. And of all Cambodians, this guy is 6'2". He's huge. Usually they're pretty tiny people. So that's how that all started. And then, so now the Cambodian guy is fighting that French guy, and they're really close to me, and they kind of duke it out, a pretty good hockey style match. And then it stops, but I can see the Cambodian guy still eyeing him up. And in Southeast Asia, they're really not satisfied with a fair fight. If you piss them off, they really want to hurt you. Sometimes I've seen some pretty wild stuff down there. So I knew he wasn't done. And I found out from some girls that I was talking to, and they said, "Hey, Matt, watch out for that guy," which turns out to be the guy he was upset with. That guy's on the island for murder. He's hiding the police for murder. Yeah, super nuts. So I'm trying to relate to this French guy. I was like, you need to get the hell out of here, and move for your safety. And he's drunk and not really getting it. I don't know if he hadn't traveled to a country like that before or whatever. So put him in the house, or their little cabin there, right? And the one guy that really got hurt, I was like, "Can I do anything for you?" He's like, "Yeah, I can get me some water." So I go back and I ask for some water, and this time they stopped the bar restaurant. It's just one spot because it was just mayhem, and there was just a group of Cambodians, and it was super terrifying. I was like, "Hey guys, I just need some water, please, for my friend." So somebody gets me some water. I go back to the cabin, and then as I'm walking back to the cabin, I see this shadow in the corner, and there's a guy standing there. And so I go in and I give the water back, and I come out, and I was like, "Hey guys, stay here. There's a guy there. Just stay here for a minute." So there's a guy in the corner in the dark, and I was like, "Hey man, how's it going?" He doesn't say anything. I was like, "Hey man, how you doing?" And doesn't say anything. Then I see this shadow walking down the path, and there's only one path that goes to this room, or this cabin, or whatever, the dorm. We can get about maybe 16 people in there in bunks. And I'm looking at a shadow, and something registers as odd to me. It's that's fucking, there's something odd about this. I was like, why is his hand dragging on the ground? Why does he have a super long hand? And then I see a shimmer, and he has a machete, and that it's basically scraping the ground. I was like, and then my body's like, oh fuck. And I didn't really have a lot of time to think. My body literally shook. It just did one shake, and then I just stepped in front of him and put my hands up, and I was like, "Hey, man, where are you going? What are you doing?" And he walks right up to me, and then the guy that was in the shadow now comes out of the shadow and is on his right, and then now there's another guy that comes down the path. So the tall guy in the middle with the machete, and 2 guys beside him. And both of the smaller guys are telling me to move. they're saying leave, move, and they're trying, I think, to get into where those two were.
Yeah.
And they're just saying leave, move, and I'm looking at this guy in the eyes, and I'm just saying, I don't even know what I'm saying, just some sort of nonsense. It's like, hey man, this guy's like a stupid tourist. Like, please do not go in there. Please, I don't know what I'm saying. It's just stuff like that, essentially.
Yeah.
And I do this for like a couple minutes as these guys are forcefully telling me to move and get out of the way. And then finally he just goes, he's okay. And like, he's talking to me, right? He's like, he's okay. And I was like, promise me you won't go out in there. He's like, I promise. And I was like, thank you so much. Like, I hope you have a good night. So I go in there and I address the situation with these two guys, which still aren't understanding it fully. I switched their bunks. So I let them sleep where I was going to sleep, and I'm in their bunk, and I stay up all night just making sure that this guy doesn't come in, and because I definitely don't believe him.
Yeah.
And so in the morning, so I fall asleep. I wake up, I fall asleep, or I stay up all night until like 7:30, and then I fell asleep for half an hour till 8. And then I go to the breakfast spot, and these two girls that I met the day before say, hey, Matt. And I was like, hey, how's it going? She's like, good. She's like, hey, do you see that guy over there? And she points out the guy from the day before. I was like, yeah. She's like, that guy just walked down with a huge machete, and it's in the cooler he's sitting on. And I was like, oh, crap. And so I basically go back to the boys, and I was like, guys, do not come to breakfast. This guy is waiting for you. You need to get off the island now. So that is a long story, but that's what happened. That's probably one of the gnarliest things it's experienced.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Holy shit. It's funny how you're, because some people, wouldn't be able to take over like that and go and stop that situation, right? Like, even though your body's shaking, you obviously had the what's the word I'm looking for? The instinct to step in. And it's interesting to know how much how much training you would have needed. I mean, some people obviously easier than others would jump into that situation. Some people would freeze in fright. And yet, and then you end up finding out that this guy, he obviously respected you enough to back off that night, but then he still wouldn't let it go. He wanted to come back for more. Crazy.
Yeah, super crazy. And, I've done martial arts my whole life, but if anybody does a knife defense course, they say run away. The guy had a machete, you know what I mean? You could be the heavyweight UFC champion, and you would run away. You would probably die if the guy has a knife.
Yeah, it cuts everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, ideally you do some Bruce Lee magical shit, but that's probably not going to go down. You know what I mean? You're probably going to get stabbed.
Yeah, exactly.
So then this machete was huge, man. I would have been screwed. I would have been so screwed.
Right on.
So let's throw in another one here just for kicks. 13 questions is rarely ever 13. It's usually 14, sometimes 15. This week will be 15. Just a quick one. What rule do you have for yourself that you never break, and why do you think that it's important?
I don't know if it's a rule, but I would say pretty much 100% of the time follow my heart or intuition. Follow what I know that I should do. And I think that you should do that because then you're going to be more proud of yourself going forward as you design your own life.
Excellent. Right on, Matt. Thank you for all these great, well thought out answers. Big thanks to everyone for tuning in to 13 questions this week. Of course, if you want to hear the bonus questions, the 5 bonus questions and the open discussion at the end of the show, head over to mantranscending.com and sign up for a membership today. You'll get access to everything at Man Transcending, including some writing exercises, premium podcasts, and even a few courses. So yeah, check that out. And if you want to follow the show on Twitter, we're at 13questions2. And that's about it. Thanks for listening, guys, and we will catch you next week. So here we are in the bonus round. Big thanks for the 15 well thought out answers in the first round there, Matt. So now we're going to do these questions for our members only. The next 5 questions, and then we'll do a quick free for all. So we'll start out with, what would you tell your teenage self?
Yeah, these are good questions, man. I think that what I would say to my younger self is that you can be anything and still have.
I don't want no one night. I don't want no one night. No what? I har jag wanna hawene har jag wanna hawene yo wa har jag wanna hawene har jag wanna hawene yo wa har jag wanna hawene har jag wanna hawene yo wa har jag wanna hawene har jag wanna hawene yo wa har jag wanna hawene har jag wanna hawene yo wa.
Why is one man rich and another man poor? Why we ain't satisfied? Why we gotta have more? Why your suicide rates on the rest so high? Why I tell you the truth but you say don't lie? Why is being a good father at an all-time low? Why is it acceptable? Yo, why I don't know. Why she blame him and he blame her? It's useless. Ask yourself this question. Why you making excuses? Why do parents gotta bury their kids? Why we text and drive, not caring how scary it is? Why it's so hard to forgive and leave the past behind? And if you did, then that's divine. Why don't you help your brother when you see him fall? Why do we act like God don't see it all? Why do we call them black, them white, them Asians and use labels? Now that's racism.
Har jag wanna hawene har jag wanna hawene yo wa har jag wanna hawene har jag wanna hawene yo wa har jag wanna hawene har jag wanna hawene yo wa har jag wanna hawene har jag wanna hawene yo wa.
Why is there innocent people locked up for life while some people can't say nothing nice? Why do we always gotta question what all of it means? And why won't you follow your dreams? Tell me why. The night when you took my dad, why'd you let me see my grandpa cry? And tell me why. And why do you choose to hide even though you was born to fly? And tell me why. And why don't we turn from all the hate? And why don't we learn from all mistakes? Why do I keep on wrecking these fat beats? And teachers don't make more than professional athletes? And why? And why? And why? And why? And why? And why?
Har jag wanna hawene har jag wanna hawene yo wa har jag wanna hawene har jag wanna hawene yo wa har jag wanna hawene har jag wanna hawene yo wa har jag wanna hawene har jag wanna hawene yo wa.
This should be considered entertainment and not therapy. We hope you benefit from our resources available at 13questionspodcast.com. Thank you for listening.